If you could buy just one fund and own every single publicly listed company in the United States, would you really need anything else? Now, most investors think that S&P 500 funds already do that, but they actually don't. In this video, I'm going to rank the top 3 U.S. total stock market ETFs and discuss how they differ from each other, how they compare to the S&P 500, and how they've done over the last 15 years. Now, most importantly, I'll discuss what percentage of your portfolio really belongs in this total U.S. stock market type of a fund, because often that matters more than the exact precise fund choice. And finally, towards the end, I'll show you how picking the right fund can really help tax loss harvest your losses. And that's just a small detail that can save you a lot of money over time. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Abhishek Gadre. I'm a practicing physician, and welcome to the Money Matters MD Show. So let's jump right in. Rank 3 is an ETF called SCHB, which is by Schwab. It stands for Schwab U.S. Broad Market ETF. And the expense ratio on this fund is 0.03%. And actually, all the top 3 ETFs I'm going to discuss today have the exact identical expense ratio of merely 3 basis points. Now, the total net assets under this fund is $38 billion US dollars. It's quite a large fund. And the total number of holdings within this fund is around 2,400. That covers more than 95% of the U.S. Company capitalization. And all of these total U.S. stock market ETFs follow an underlying index. And that index actually determines what the investment is actually going to purchase. So the underlying index for this fund is the Dow Jones U.S. Broad Stock Market Index. Now, I'm sure you've heard of what an S&P 500 index is. It's basically the 500 largest companies listed publicly in the U.S., and it's published by S&P. But if you look at the total number of companies listed in the United States right now, it's somewhere between 3,500 to 4,000. So the S&P 500 only takes care of the 500 companies. So what about the other 3,000 companies? So a total U.S. stock market index would be more comprehensive and will hold a lot more investments than just S&P 500 index. So let's move on to the rank 2 ETF, which is the ITOT. It's the iShares Core S&P Total U.S. Stock Market ETF. So basically, it's a iShares ETF from BlackRock. Again, the expense ratio is identical, around 3 basis points or 0.03%. It is a larger fund. It holds around $82 billion right now. Now, ITOT also holds around 2,400 investments inside its portfolio. The underlying index that the iShares ITOT follows is the S&P Total Market Index. Now, the way the S&P classifies the U.S. market is large cap, mid cap, and small cap. This is just based on the company size. The large company index is called the S&P 500 index, which covers the top 500 companies by size. The second index is S&P 400, which actually covers the next 400 companies by size, which is the mid cap index. And S&P 600 is the next 600 companies in size, which covers the small cap index universe. So within the S&P Total Market Index, they basically cover around 1,500 companies in total. Now, it's confusing because the ITOT ETF actually holds around 2,400 holdings. Now, how does 1,500 companies convert into 2,400 holdings? Because a lot of companies have multiple different types of share classes. Like Google will have GOOG or GOOGL, or Berkshire Hathaway may have BRKA or BRKB type shares, and that's the major difference. Now, within the S&P Total Market Index, you will see the S&P 500, the large cap, contributes to about 80% of the market capitalization. Now, there are only 500 companies out of the 1,500 companies within the S&P Total Market Index, but the reason that they contribute 80% of capitalization is the largest companies are way, way, way larger than the small companies. The mid cap occupies around 15% of the capitalization within the U.S. stock market right now. And the rest of the 5% is the small caps. Now, before we move on to rank 1, I have a couple honorable mentions. So Dimensional and Avantis are 2 companies which design evidence-based factor-tilted portfolios. There have been Nobel Prizes given out for a lot of research done in this field, which actually suggests that instead of owning the total stock market, if you tilt a little bit towards value, smaller size, and profitability, in the very, very long run, you might come out slightly ahead. Now, in the last decade or so, the large cap growth companies have outperformed every single thing, which is actually against the norm. If you're investing in a smaller company, you're taking higher risk, and there is a risk premium associated with taking that risk. Now, in the longer run, value companies tend to be higher risk companies, but also tend to have a higher return. Again, that has not been true over the last decade or so, but if you zoom out on a century basis, that's what factor investing is really all about. So Dimensional has a fund called DFUS, and they have multiple other funds, but DFUS is one of the bigger ones. It's around $18 billion, and the expense ratio is around 0.09%. Now, they don't go very aggressive with this fund, but it is very, very slightly tilted towards the factors that I mentioned earlier. Now, DFUS follows the Russell 3000 index. Now, Avantis is actually a very similar company, which is a spin-off out of Dimensional, which makes targeted ETFs, which also focus on factor investing. So AVUS is a Avantis U.S.Total stock market ETF. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a 0.15 or 15 basis points expense ratio. And as of now, it has around $11 billion within itself. Now, these factor-tilted portfolios are a whole separate lineup by themselves, and that's why I don't think they belong in the top 3 ETF lineup. Now, there's 2 different ways to do factor investing. You could either do a core and satellite approach, in which you can hold something like ITOT and then have a satellite small value profitability type fund to get the tilt in that direction. Or you can hold this total market Avantis or Dimensional type fund, which will tilt your overall portfolio within that one fund. Now, Vanguard recently came out with a shocking forecast of around a 3% return over the S&P 500 for the next 10 years, and growth stocks are even worse at around 1 or 2%. And that's why factor investing might be something which is interesting over the next decade. Now, if this is something which is interesting to you, I have a whole separate video on this topic, and I'll attach it down below in the description. Now, one quick little thing before we move on. A lot of you viewers right now are not my subscribers. Please subscribe to the channel if you like my content, so that the algorithm knows that I'm making good quality videos, so it can promote it to more viewers just like you. Now, I do have a few affiliate links in the description down below with a few of my favorite book recommendations and a few other resources. If you're interested, please check them out. Now, the channel does get a small commission at no extra cost to you, and it does support the channel, and thank you for doing that. And just so you remember, this is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. Now, let's move on to rank 1, which is VTI, which is a Vanguard Total U.S. Stock Market ETF. The expense ratio, again, is right at 3 basis points in competition with all the other ETFs that I mentioned. And this is a massive, massive fund. It has around $2.1 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars under management. Now, the total holdings in this fund is around 3,500. So it has way more holdings than ITOT and SCHB. Now, that's because the underlying index it follows is the CRSP U.S. Total Market Index. Now, the S&P index limits itself to 1,500 companies, but the CRSP covers the entirety of the 3,500 companies listed in the United States. Now, the big difference between VTI and ITOT is that the Vanguard fund actually invests in a lot more small companies and even micro-cap companies, which the iShares fund does not. So how did all of these ETFs actually perform? So let's compare the performance from 2010 to 2026. All of the 3 ETFs, the SCHB, ITOT, and VTI, are essentially identical. The CAGR, or the compound annual growth rate, was around 14.3%. So it really doesn't matter which one you are buying and holding. All 3 of them are excellent, excellent choices. Whichever one you own, the return is substantially identical. And it's because of intense competition and customer demand, the expense ratios are identical. It's not by chance. So how do these total U.S. stock market funds compare to S&P 500 funds? So let's put VTI against VOO, which is Vanguard's S&P 500 fund. The S&P 500 actually delivered slightly higher return over the last 15 years, around 14.7% compared to 14.3%. Now, the difference is not that big. It's not because S&P 500 is better than the U.S. total stock market funds, but because of the recency bias of last 15 years, The large cap and growth style companies have done a lot better compared to the small cap and value size companies. And S&P 500 is basically just invests in the top 70 to 80% of the capitalization, which is the large cap companies, and completely omits the mid cap and the small cap companies. Now, as we discussed earlier about factor investing, the last 15 years is actually an anomaly. If you zoom out on a century-long basis, small cap funds have actually outperformed large cap funds. So if you own VTI for the next 100 years, it's possible that it might beat VOO by a few decimal points. So it's not a huge difference if you should really own a S&P 500 fund or a U.S.Total stock market index fund. Either one is fine. But if you're really splitting hair, I would go more with VTI. So where does a U.S.Total stock market ETF like VTI or ITOT belong in your overall portfolio? So these are excellent funds and should be core holdings of your portfolio. Now, what do I mean by core holding? It should be one of the largest holding, if not the entire portfolio that you own. Now, I do like a simple 3-fund portfolio style approach where you have VTI as your main core holding, which may be, let's say, about 50%, and then you add a 30% international diversification with VXUS or any international fund, and maybe 20% bonds to give you some stability in the long run. Now, based on your risk profile, the stock and bond allocation can differ a bit. Now, the stock and bond allocation has to be personalized up to your own risk tolerance. Now, holding VTI as a solo holding as your entire portfolio is not a bad thing to do, but adding something as VXUS as a second international diversification will just give you a less volatile portfolio in the long run. Now, remember in 2025, the VXUS International Fund actually delivered somewhere around 32%. And VTI delivered around 17%. So the US index, as of end of 2025, has lost its winning streak for more than a decade over all the international funds. Now, if you are in a higher tax bracket, tax efficiency would be extremely important to you. And a U.S.Total stock market ETF would be way more tax efficient than anything else. Because let's say a company falls off from the S&P 500 and becomes a mid-cap company, no longer a large-cap company, you would still own it within a total market fund. But the S&P 500 will show a portfolio turnover. So the portfolio turnover and capital gains is extremely minimal in a total stock market type fund. Now let's talk about tax loss harvesting and how all of these ETFs play an essential role within this particular technique. Now let's say you own $100,000 of VTI and you're in the middle of a recession and you lose 30% of it and you're right around $70,000 of VTI right now. Now you can actually use that $30,000 loss if you sell the VTI ETF at the time and capture this capital losses, and you can move into a similar but not identical fund. If you purchase ITOT, it's not substantially identical. So you basically booked the losses, but you still hold a very similar position in the U.S. world stock market. And this is completely legal. Now, often robo-advisors from Schwab and Betterment and Vanguard use these ETF pairs to harvest tax losses, and they can actually count against your earned income and reduce your total taxable income. So IRS has a rule called the wash sale rule, in which you can't necessarily just sell an investment for a loss and buy it back again within a few days and call it a capital loss. So you can't go back into a substantially identical investment, but based on how these robo-advisors use these tax loss harvesting pairs, VTI and ITOT and SCHB will make just a fine interchangeable pair within any taxable portfolio. Now, this video is part of a best ETF series that I'm doing. Now, in future videos, I'll also cover US S&P 500 funds and international funds and small cap funds. So stay tuned if you're interested in that. Now, out of all the funds that I talked about today, comment down below which is your favorite US stock market fund. If you learned something useful today, please subscribe to my channel and like and share this video. Thank you for watching. Money Matters MD, over and out.